Start again. All right. Welcome back, System Warriors, to Pedal to the Metal. A shorter edition, probably, because we may play some games afterwards. But we decided to do this and celebrate the greatness that is Sunset Overdrive. That's what will drive this cast. And we're missing Eroica because he got some teacher duties, which is fine. But we wanted to actually talk about this game, so maybe he'll join in later. But we always have another co-host with us. That's Animal Mother. What's up, dude?
Sunset Overdrive and Lords of the Fallen. I mean, I'm gonna talk about Lords of the Fallen in a bit, but that game is very good. Like it kind of came out of the woodwork and surprised me. Surprised a lot of people, I think.
I agree with that. And today we have pro Microsoft supporter, the guy that says we're the clowns of the industry as Sony supporters.
The Pauper Station 4. Every
Station.
time he says that, my blood boils a little bit.
I like it, the clowns. That's his catchphrase. So anyway, we'd like to welcome back KW2. What's up, dude?
Hey guys, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, loving having you back. So
KW, how you been? You guys I know you've been talking. You've been like world traveling a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, weren't you in like in Alaska and a couple other places?
Yeah, I had a project that I was doing for BMW, and it took me to Alaska. It took me to Salt Lake City. Took me to Little Rock, Arkansas. So yeah, I've been on the road since I want to say August 1st.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Like,
how long
we
are you
were
gone for?
like
what's like a long, what's the stretch of days you're gone without being home?
The longest I've been without being home is about 3.5 months.
Wow, no shit.
Yeah, but I have my family travel with me a lot of that time because usually I have a big project almost every summer, and I'll have my family travel with me for about a month and a half. So
still.
That's cool.
This last one though was just I was gone every week, but I was home every weekend. So
it's a nice trade-off.
Yeah, not too bad.
All right, so yeah, we'll talk about the Sunset last because that's what the focus of this show is. Because I've been anxiously awaiting Insomniac's gem of a game, and it hasn't disappointed me. But let's talk about first about there were some updates both for PS4 and Xbox. Themes were the light things. I tried it with the Xbox. I really didn't get it. You're supposed to be able to use your achievements, and I've tried that, and I'm probably doing it wrong, but has failed me so far. I haven't tried it I haven't got the update with the PS4 yet because there's been some reported problems, and I always wait usually before I get the updates just to get those problems out of there. But have you got the update yet, Animal?
Wait. So real quick, just to recap, themes are out on KW. Maybe you can help me with this. Themes are out on the Xbox One now, or is that on if you're part of the beta program?
Oh, I guess I'm part of the beta probably. But
yeah, because that's the big November update. Is the
but I can change colors, but it won't let me. I guess I could be doing something wrong, but you're supposed to be able to use your achievement.
There's an image associated with like each achievement or something where
and I can't. I can't figure that out right now, but it's not a huge deal. So I changed it to World Class Blue anyway. So
yeah, for Sony, right?
So anyway, did you get the 2.0 for the PS4?
I got the 2.0 update for PS4, and I wish Eureka was here to talk about it because aside from some of the very, I don't want to call them like massive system breaking bugs. Yes, some people are reporting consoles locking up. And I have the rest bug problem myself. For those of you that don't know what that is when you put your console into the newly updated rest mode, the system doesn't turn off, and when you turn the system back on, it just has to rebuild the database. I think that's being reported for people because I installed a 1.5 terabyte drive on my PS4. I think more people are coming out and saying like, well, I installed a new drive, so I don't know if it's the system update clashing with not factory installed drive or what have you. But I mean, otherwise the system update has been great. I turned the console off to avoid that bug. Other people are reporting some other minor issues. But the big thing, the first thing that was really big about the update was themes finally came back. USB music player, which a lot of people used. Which was never a feature on the PS3, which was a really great feature on the Xbox 360. And what's really awesome about this big update is SharePlay. SharePlay is literally just one of the most amazing things I've like. If you had talked to like, if I asked you guys 10 years ago that you would be able to play a game that I own on my console in my house in your house, would you believe me?
Yeah,
Probably not.
Like it's a really unique feature, and surprisingly, Eroika and I tried it out, and a friend and I tried it out who's local, and it worked. It worked relatively well. I
Now,
mean,
is there a time limit of an hour on those?
here's how SharePlay works. They updated the party system on the PS4, so you get better audio, but they also added the SharePlay feature. So when you're in a party with somebody, it says SharePlay, so it says Start SharePlay, and you can start it, and you can invite the user in the party to play with you. So what happens is the user has to connect to your PS4. So it's a P2P connection. It isn't any Sony server stuff. So it's dependent on user-to-user connection. And what you do is if you start a game, they join your session and they see you playing. So it's kind of like a live stream, like a private live stream. And you go back into the party and you just say, hey, I'm going to give you the controller. And they literally take the controller from you for an hour. Sony discussed the time limit as being something so that people wouldn't just sit there for hours on end, being able to beat games in one or two sittings, because I agree, that is cheesing it a little bit, like to sit there and allow people to play a game for hours that people worked hard for.
Yeah, they don't want to have a developer sell one copy of the game and have 100 friends play that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it is unlimited. So once your 60 minutes are up, you can pass the controller again right away. It's cool. Eroika and I were playing Lords of the Fallen, and he started a new character, and he saved it right on my system. So if he ever says, hey, Animal, I want to play Lords of the Fallen again, I could start it up, give him control for an hour, swap my input to Xbox One, and play some Sunset Overdrive while he's doing that.
Now, I think originally that's what Microsoft envisioned, where you could share a game, kind of like a demo to make you want the game.
It was family sharing. It was, what was it? It was sharing between people in your Xbox Live family.
Yeah, up to 10, I think. Something like that, where you could, I call it as a live, demo of the game, where there's, any part that you want, but, up to an hour to see if you like the game, and then hopefully go out and buy it. So
Right.
No, this is the full game. I could have you play all of Lord of the Fallen in 60-minute increments if he wanted.
So now I got the beta for the Xbox, and that resume feature looks like it's working, because I've noticed that the last couple of times, because I've started back my game in Sunset Overdrive, and instead of the loading screen in the menu, it goes right back to the room where I left off.
Yeah, I don't know if that's maybe you guys can shed some light on this for me, because it's like the first time I've turned on my Xbox ever. Xbox, the One has always had a suspend feature, right? Like if you put the console into that low power mode and start it back up again, it's going to go right back to where the game left, where you left.
That's what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so you're actually able to switch in and out as long as you don't start another game. I can go into watch TV, or go into my Netflix, or go into my Amazon, and then come right back to the game where.
Then I apologize. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, because usually I switch games around and whatnot, but I've stuck to the game that we're going to talk about later. That's pretty cool. So
it's definitely one of the best. Now that I'm finally really using my One, and that games are starting to trickle, at least for me, KW and I, we have this contentious relationship on the board, but now that the games are starting to trickle out for me, it's just okay, now I'm wrapping my head around the system, and it's this is good, this is great, I wish this was a little bit better, blah blah blah. But it is a system that does have its chops.
One thing too is they're implementing some type of rating system for. I probably have to go look at it or look it up. If you do certain stuff, or if you look at people's reviews, you get points. And I can't remember what you do with those points. But you know anything about that, KW? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot on it as far as what you can exchange them for, but they're starting to give points for a lot of different things. Not just so if you watch somebody's Twitch, if you watch something on the Xbox video, if you watch something, so it doesn't go to your gamer score. It's actually some kind of like reputation points that you can spend. But I haven't seen what you can spend them on,
It's
and
it's
yeah,
called My Stats. If you are in the preview program, you will
Yeah,
now earn
yeah.
points for providing feedback, including points for completing quests, surveys, quick poll questions, and rating the update. These will be shared in the preview dashboard under My Stats. The more points you get, the more you level up, and the more rewards you'll earn.
Which I thought that
Keep,
was kind of, something different. I don't think it's gonna,
it's an
be a
interesting
bad thing.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with some kind of point system. I mean, I feel like they kind of fucked it up with the Xbox 360, but if they rewarded me with a $10 gift card, like if they saw I played 1,000 hours of Xbox One in the year 2014, like I wish they'd be like, hey, here's a $10 gift card, or like you've racked up this many points, you can get a $10 gift card, or like a small little chunk of free DLC for something, like something cool like that is cool rewards, and it incentivizes people to play on your platform. So that's a really cool thing. And if they manage to pull it off, because what was it? It was like a tenth of a cent for every dollar you spent on the 360 or something like that, right?
yeah, yeah.
It was just they're like, hey, you have 78 cents. I was like, thanks, Microsoft. Like this is great. But I mean, if they incentivize people and like, hey, here's like a small little 99 cent or $5 DLC for whatever game you want, like that'd be really awesome. And I'm sure something will happen with
Yeah.
stats and points.
So I think the updates are good. So as far as the music to me is it's kind of irrelevant because these days, I'll stream my music or I have Google Play. So the ability to rip CDs or play off a USB stick is I find that useless to me. What about you guys?
KW.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of streaming music while I'm playing, so I don't. I like to kind of hear the game, and it helps us kind of set the mood to get me into the game. So I like to hear what's in the game. I'm not a big music streaming fan while I'm playing video games at all.
What about in general? I mean, do you think a console is good for like to I mean, to like rip a CD? There's big things about PS4 doesn't allow you to rip a CD. I mean, I can't remember the last like physical CD I bought,
Yeah,
or do you
that
even play
no.
MP3s on your
Well, I don't.
system?
No, I don't. If I'm gonna stream, if I'm gonna do something like play music, it's usually through my phone. It's through a tablet or something like that, and I'll stream it onto. I'll play it through a speaker that I've got,
Yeah.
Bluetooth or something like that. But I don't. A lot of people made a big deal of that the the PS4 didn't have it, and I just was like, that was a big eye roll for me. I'm like, okay, whatever, who cares?
And one
Um,
good thing in the updates, I think even I believe the PS4 got is the DLNA, where it allows you to stream your videos, which I use a lot because I get a lot of media video files. And
yeah,
currently, right now, I use either the Xbox 360 and Media Center or PS3 Media Server, which basically is just like a media server. You uh, link it to your console, and then you put files on it, according to what's shared drives on your computers. And I use that a lot, so I was really kind of happy to see that. Now I did try the Xbox One, and I think it has some little work to go because it doesn't play all formats quite yet, and it didn't recognize all my files. But to see it's still there, I could see if it were to able to work that stuff out and see all my files and play them all, then I would probably just use my Xbox One for what its intended purpose was. I think initially it was all media center because I could just, from watching TV, I could say, Xbox, what's the video app called? I can't remember now, but you can start your video app and then you could automatically start playing your files, and that's what I want. But right now I have to switch to another console, which isn't a huge deal, but it'd be nice to, see
It'll
this,
come.
see
It'll
the newer
come
ones do. Because I
eventually.
imagine eventually I'll probably retire my, I don't know when, but PS3 and 360, get them off my entertainment center. But so it's nice
Yeah.
to see those start coming. So the features that probably should have been in both systems to begin with, but they were rushed to get them out. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think that's well, to with the whole music thing, like KW, it was an eye roll for me, because with the way technology has gone, like I have a Galaxy S5, I have a Tab 3, and I have a sound bar down here, and I have a smart TV. Like, it's so easy to throw the music and the video to the TV, or the music to the sound bar. Like, starting up your console and going like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to music is kind of like, dude, what are you doing?
There's so many other devices.
There's
That's
so
just
many other devices,
yeah.
like, especially with your phone being an MP3 player with Spotify and Pandora and all those other apps. It's just kind of like,
It's like even the media apps like Netflix and Hula. I mean, that's nice, but everything else plays that. Even your
yeah,
even your
everything
even your Blu-ray player, standalone Blu-ray player, has that
has
shit on
apps.
it.
Yeah.
It's like
Um.
so. It's like I don't know. You can't even buy a TV. I've been looking at TVs and you can't buy a TV. I don't think that doesn't have some smart features with it. So it's just like I don't know. I just want the game console and streaming video files is what I want. But
Yeah, I mean, it's that stuff will come to the PS4 and the Xbox One. I mean, Xbox One is getting DLNA support, if I'm correct.
yep, it has it
Uh,
right now in the beta. Yep, that's what I was
uh,
talking about. But it's not perfect yet. But
PS4 will get it eventually. I mean, to me at least, both consoles were rushed to the market because the problem was everyone was getting a little antsy. I think we still had another year. To be honest, I think we had
well,
another
you couldn't
year.
give Nintendo a 2 year head start either.
No.
I don't think they could have done. Well, the way the Wii U went, I think the extra year wouldn't have hurt that bad.
Possibly, but it was
Um,
time.
no, it was, and but I think in time, like I think the Xbox One was pretty much a piece of shit when it launched, but I think it's
Tell us how you really.
no. I really do. Like, I like the steady updates they've implemented. Like, they've made it better. They've made it a lot of a smoother experience for someone like me. Whereas, like, the PS4 was just like, you literally put the disc in. It's the first thing that pops up, and it's just like, all right, let's go. Install time. One thing I noticed with Sunset Overdrive was the install time was a lot better than most of the games that I've only put like two disc games in my Xbox 360, Xbox One. I mean, Dead Rising 3 was like, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Sunset Overdrive took a little less than half an hour, 45 minutes. I was like, that's fine. Um,
Still, they still messed. They did something wrong there. But what I did is I knew had to play. Had to have family time, so I came downstairs and started that in the update before I played it, so I wouldn't have to wait. So I was smart. Did it ahead of time.
yeah. I had some work to do, so I put it in, and it just kind of, by the time I was ready to play, I was like, it's ready to go.
KW, you got
But
something to say about it? You're shaking your head,
These
bro.
these discs that you speak of and these loading times, I don't know of this. What
I'm not ready
are
to
these
go.
things you talk about
I'm not
now?
ready to go all digital yet. They haven't given me a financial reason to go all digital yet.
Dude, I woke up at like took a little nap from about 9 p.m. to 12 midnight. Woke up and magically the game was ready to play.
I
That's all.
what time zone are you on, KW?
I'm in Arizona, so we're kind of the screwballs of the country. We
Yeah, you
don't we
don't
don't really,
observe daylight
we
savings time.
don't we don't observe daylight savings time and jump back and fall forward or whatever it might be. So I think right now I'm on Pacific time, I think, or Mountains time. I don't remember.
Now,
But
You
I might
guys
make a
aren't
secret
mountain
here.
times.
I might buy Call of Duty digital. What do you think about that for the Xbox? Well, first I'm buying digital full price, and then buying it for the Xbox. Isn't that like a double whammy for me?
Oh
yeah,
God.
Yeah,
The thing about an all digital future is, like, KW. I've bought some games on my PS4 digitally.
right.
Um, games that I own disc based, because it's just like, okay, I'll buy these for the PS4. They're Tomb Raider and Last of Us remastered,
Yeah.
and it's great. You're right. Like, it's like loading. Like, the loading times are great. Like, not having to put in a disc is awesome. Like, just having those games to go on the fly. My one fucking gripe, and I don't know if the One does this at all, but I'm sure Microsoft does it because they're based in Seattle and they probably have to follow NDAs and strict guidelines.
Yeah.
Here on the East Coast, games don't release until 3 a.m. because
Oh.
you have to wait until PST 12 a.m.
Oh.
So it's like when I buy games digitally, for me, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna play at midnight. This is gonna be awesome. And then it's like, no, fuck you. You're gonna have to wait till 3 a.m. I'm
Well,
like,
it's midnight. It's
no.
just midnight Pacific time.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's called not midnight here, Heil. That's called the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's
where you should get the retail if you really want to play something right away.
Yeah. So
go to a midnight launch if there's available.
That's one of my gripes with the digital future. And,
well, maybe so that has to do with federal regulations, though. That doesn't have anything to do with the game companies themselves, right? Or does it?
I'm not sure how that works.
I think from what I've heard on the Giant Bombcast, it's because you can't have people in New York playing the game, but then not have the game released in California. So legally, you have to wait till the game is released at 12 a.m. at the furthest point.
Well, how can they do like physical releases when you go to a midnight launch?
I don't know. Well, because because digital. Because digital's got to be some kind of switch. Like once the game's out digitally, it's out digitally. Like maybe
they don't have regional
like a time cap.
Yeah.
So KW, you getting Call of Duty?
I haven't bought a Call of Duty game in probably 3 years. I've switched over to Battlefield and hadn't looked back. However, I will tell you this. Speaking of digital, and I bought Battlefield 4 in a digital format, and it's still a turd of a game.
Game worked great on PS4.
Man, I still have bugs in the campaign. Literally, it was throwing me off the deck of ships the last time I played into the ocean for no apparent reason at all in the single player. So if there was ever a game I wish I would have purchased in a physical format, it would be that game because it would be going back immediately.
I did have some trouble with Battlefield 4 launch. On the PS4, I had a save issue. It wasn't saving the single player game.
That exactly. So I recently restarted the single player because mine still hadn't. The campaign for mine still hadn't wasn't saving. So yeah, it's a mess, man. I'm so done with Battlefield 4. So it might drive me to buy another Call of Duty because it does look really interesting. However, I mean, so we just got Sunset Overdrive. In a week and a half, we're gonna have the Master Chief Collection.
Don't forget, Target's having, well, this probably won't be out by then. Target's having a buy two, get one free from November 1st to the 15th. So you can get Call of Duty, Master Chief Collection, and another game of your choice for the fall, for this winter.
Yeah, that's that's an interesting sell for me, just for the simple fact is I haven't purchased a game on disc the whole generation. And going to switching disc, even though I'd get a free game, that's a tough one, man. It's so, and that sounds stupid and ridiculous, but it's so convenient not having to have game boxes and discs and.
Trust me, I have a whole box of my 360. I have probably like a big plastic crate filled with like 120 Xbox 360 discs. Like I don't want to throw them out because I'm a little bit of a hoarder, but also it's like, what do you do with all this shit that you buy?
Yeah,
like it's just so much stuff.
Would you install an extra hard drive or a different hard drive, KW?
Yeah, so because you can now with the one, you can plug in any hard drive, and I don't think there's a limit on the amount of terabytes to the hard drive. At this point, so
did you do a USB drive or did you replace the drive? You can't replace it.
No, you can't replace the drive in the one. You have to.
So did you get a USB drive then?
Yep.
Was it a 3.0?
Yep, 3.0.
How big a space did you get? How big a drive did you get?
I haven't got a hard drive yet. I've been
really.
No, I've been waiting for Black Friday, man, because I know I'm going to be able to snag probably like a 4 terabyte for like $100 somewhere.
So have you ran into any like space issues? Have you had to delete games to make room for new ones?
Not yet. I think I'm going to probably run into that bumper when I get the Master Chief Collection.
Because that's like 60.
That's 60 plus.
A 20 gig patch.
20.
That's like. No, it's like 60 gigs.
Is it 60 plus 20?
What are you talking about? What's the 20?
They're patching in the multiplayer, I think.
They're patching in an additional 20 gigs.
Last I saw it was 60. I'm not sure. Maybe that's with the 20, but it's big because it was 4 full games.
Microsoft did come out, or whoever 343 came out and said that. However, the campaigns will be playable from the start. So I guess it's the multiplayer.
Oh, the multiplayer is not available at launch.
No. I think that's the 20 gig patch.
Fuck,
Yeah.
man, 20 gig patch. Holy
Yeah.
shit! Why couldn't they? I'm just asking. So a lot of decks doesn't matter. But why couldn't they put that in on the disc?
Because they did it so they wouldn't have to press a second disc to save
Yeah,
money.
it was going to be 2 discs if they had to do it, from what I've read.
Yeah. So
20 fucking gigs. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's definitely a 20 gig update.
Well, I want you guys. I know both you guys will get it. So I want to play. I still have fond memories of Halo 3. So I want to play that.
yeah, Halo. I
I'll
want
play that co-op on
what
Legendary.
is it? Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's.
I want to play that co-op
yeah.
with you guys on those.
Not that 60 frames a second, 1080p for those games is bad. There's something wrong. I don't know if it's my eyes, but the game, like, have you guys seen the IGN videos?
Two
I
look
have not-
stunning.
I haven't seen actually any of the remake stuff yet.
Like I've seen like the Halo 1, the Halo 3, and the Halo 4. Like the 60 frames a second looks like, to me at least, that the game is running in 1.5 times speed. Now I don't know if that's something wrong with IGN, or if that's what 60 frames a second looks like on video. But like I have a really powerful PC. That's not what 60 frames a second looks like to me on a PC. So it's just kind of like it was baffling to my eyes to watch that. Not that it's a bad thing, but that it's just like, whoa, like this is fast. And Halo isn't like that fast. Like it reminded me like this is fucking like Call of Duty fast. But we'll see like in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, the 11th, and the discs themselves are 45 gigs, and the patch is 20.
Oh.
So it is 60. Yeah.
Oh. So so Master Chief Collection's coming out. That'll be good value.
All right, it's a good segue to our game. So, John, why don't you start talking about Lords of the Fallen, since I have not played that.
Let's talk about Lords of the Fallen.
Yes, let's.
Lords of the Fallen is a game developed by two studios, CI Games and Deck 13 Interactive. Deck 13 Interactive hasn't done anything of note. They did one game for the Xbox 360 and PS3 called, I don't know if you guys remember a game called Venetica. It was kind of like a hack and slashy game. It got okay reviews. And then Deck 13, CI Games, the only game they've only done, or not the only game they've ever done, but like the two big games they've done have been the Sniper Ghost Warrior games, which are kind of like ish games. And it was weird because Lords of the Fallen came out of nowhere. Lords of the Fallen came out of nowhere from these two studios that haven't really done like too many crazy games, and it seems like on their first try they knocked it out of the park. It's a hack and slash role playing game a la Dark Souls. It has a bit more of an I don't want to say old school leveling up system, but it has a more traditional-ish experience system where you pour your points in to level up, and then you get a stat point or a spell point, and you can kind of allocate and build your character the way you want to. And the gameplay is no fucking joke. It is a Dark Souls clone at its core. But it does take the liberty to change some things in its core mechanics to differentiate it from Dark Souls, and that's what makes it so. That's what makes it more than a clone. So, for example, when you kill an enemy, your multiplier goes up by 0.1. So your multiplier starts at 1, so it goes 1.01. 1.02. And the cool thing is, in Dark Souls, you could go for a while building up souls and building up souls and building up souls. The thing here is, if you keep going and don't rest at a checkpoint, you can keep your multiplier going and getting better gear. The equipment also plays a big role in it because it makes the combat meatier than Dark Souls ever was. It makes dodging like you have your three classes. You have your cleric, which is like a healer defense guy. You have your rogue, which is more like fast blades, and you have your brawler, which is like heavy weapons. I'm a brawler, and that combat is just like it's heavy. Like you feel every hit, and it's really, really awesome. It's tough at times. It's tough at times, which is nice. Runs really well on the PS4. I mean, granted, probably runs best on PC. Haven't heard anything about the Xbox One version. I don't know. Any questions from you guys?
Is it anything like it's nothing like Shadow of Mordor, right? I mean,
you know what it is? The combat gives me a satisfaction like Shadow of Mordor. Shadow of Mordor is more like a fast-paced, like to me, Shadow of Mordor is like a fast-paced, like beat 'em up because you can work around the controller so quick. Especially like, did you beat Shadow of Mordor, KW?
I played a little bit over at buddy's house, and I'm thinking about picking it up, but I just don't know where I'm going to fit it in when I've got
with all these games.
Yeah,
Shadow of Mordor is definitely a game to check out. Its combat satisfied me like Shadow of Mordor's did, but Shadow of Mordor is more like a Batman, whereas Lords of the Fallen is more like a Dark Souls. If you ever played Dark Souls, it's just like you have your 1 and 2 hit buttons. You have R1 for light, R2 for heavy, L1 for block, and L2 for parries and stuff like that. Kyle?
I have looks interesting to me. I'm at a spot where I got too many games on the lineup to look at, so I'll probably try to play it either probably in spring maybe.
Yeah, it's got a really cool rune system that you can bet your experience to get better runes and stuff like that.
I'll probably rent it, or if I buy it, it'll be
$20 or something.
Price, price drop. But I want to play it.
It's a good game. It's a really fun game. I've already put 7 hours into it. I really like it. It's a nice temporary placeholder for Bloodborne right now, for me at least. And I hope these developers get rewarded, because I mean, seems that they've done kind of stuff before, a bunch of mobile games or what have you, or like old PC games, and it's just like I want these guys made an awesome game. Like, these two devs made a really awesome game, and I hope they get to make a sequel, because it scratches that niche for. It could scratch that niche for tolerant Dark Souls fans. Like, the most hardcore might be like, oh, this fucking stupid shit. But, like, for somebody like me who enjoys the Souls games and enjoys games like it, it could be a good placeholder. If you got a Lords of the Fallen every other year and a Dark Souls every 2 years, I mean, it'd be a good, cool thing.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So
that would be my question. Like, so you're talking about you got Dark Souls, you got Lords of the Fallen, then you've got Bloodborne coming out. I mean, you've got 3 games that possibly could be very similar. I'm wondering if these great games that we're seeing, that are these hack and slash type RPG type games, that I wonder how that's going to affect the Bloodborne score, because Van Ord's gonna rate it on GameSpot. He's a Dark Souls lover.
From what I've heard about the Bloodborne alpha or beta, it's a nice change up from Dark Souls. So from what I hear is that they've completely changed the combat, because Dark Souls is a series that's based very heavily around blocking, dodging your hits. Whereas Bloodborne, I heard from another GameSpot user, Ingrish, he said it's more about, it's more of a tug of war. So it's like you have to take your hits, but in that time, if you take a hit, if you hit back, you have an opportunity to gain your health back. He thinks that the main character is a vampire, so that's where he says that the motif is blood, a lot of blood, whereas Dark Souls is a lot of death stuff. So he said it's a really great like push and pull combat system that's more focused around movement rather than like standing there and taking your hits or just dodging out of the way. Uh, I haven't played the alpha, so I can't say for certain. But I mean, if the director of Dark Souls and Demon Souls is making this game, I mean that guy knows how to put one hell of a show together. Even if the game doesn't come out and it's not generally like AAA like the Soul series has been, that guy still knows how to put on one hell of a show. And he makes fantastic games, in my opinion. Dark Souls was just out of this world. It was one of those games that I can go back 10 years from now and go like, yeah, I fucking love Dark Souls.
Awesome. So now I think we should focus on the game that we wanted to have this podcast, and we invited our guest for Sunset Overdrive, which is, I don't know, they announced it 2013. They showed just a short little clip, no gameplays, the trailer, CGI, but you can get what they're kind of going for, and I think they nailed it. Got 8.0 at our home base, which is fine, but it's let me see what it is on Game Rankings. I imagine it's on the mid 80s. Let's see. But anyway, why don't we start with KW? Why don't you speak about it?
Yeah, so I was super pumped when I first saw kind of the trailer. I kind of get into new IPs. I like to see new IPs come out, and I especially like to see colorful, new, vibrant worlds. It's the generation previous. You had a lot of gray, a lot of rubble, a lot of just kind of really heavy atmosphere or environment type games. And it's good to see a developer like Insomniac come out with a very lighthearted, fun game like Sunset Overdrive. It's when I first saw it, I was wondering how they were going to incorporate kind of the multiplayer or the co-op in this, and they've done a beautiful job of doing that and creating chaos in that multiplayer. But the single player is a fun game. It's a fun campaign as well. It's got a lot of character to it. You get really some lighthearted humor and some potty humor as well. But the cool thing is you can turn that off also. So you can turn off any of the foul language that if you don't like that or anything within the game that's kind of vulgar, and turn down the blood as well. So it's a game that can be played by adults and kids, I think, and you can create your own character. Also, it's not the typical, hey, I'm this gun-toting alpha male in a game, and
Totally make that though.
What's that?
You could totally make that though in the game.
Yeah, you can totally make the gun-toting alpha male, no doubt. And my character is pretty beefed up. I kind of went on the caricature side and made a guy that was a much bigger dude than what they show in the previews and videos.
You like the beefcakes, KW?
Yeah, I'm not a beefcake guy, so I play one in Sunset Overdrive though, so you know.
Oh, I always play women in games where I can create a character, so it's just I've always secretly wanted to.
Yeah, I was right. It's sitting at 84.68, so that's really good. So it's I think they hit it on the head. It's everything I thought it would be and more. They definitely punish you for being on the ground. They do not. I mean, even the cheeseball announcer keeps telling you, do not be on the ground, and you do better being up in the air. So they want you to parkour, and you get style points. So the upgrade system is really cool. There's three different. There's a character, there's style, and then there's hero. And you earn badges for basically just doing, shooting stuff or running around, and then you can upgrade your stuff. You also get are they speakers?
Amps.
Is that what it's called when you defend?
Badges, amps and what is it? Overdrives.
Overdrive. Yeah.
So they have basically a little defend part.
Yeah. You get traps
where
too.
Yeah. So where you can put your traps out and go around, and then you get rewarded for that. So the only thing I can see possibly be a slight negative, which is probably most games these days, is the fetch quest. You have to go here and grab this and come back. But the fun is getting there and kicking ass. Killing shit. So I did try the multiplayer. I thought it was pretty cool how they integrated that. There's phone booths throughout the
I like
the
that.
map, and you just go up to them, and you're transported into a multiplayer map, and you're there till you go back to a phone booth and say, I want to go back to a single player campaign. So I think, as far as even that aspect, that's one of the smoothest two multiplayers unique that I've seen, and I really like the game. Like I said, I'll go out and say that it's probably the best game of this gen thus far that I've played.
Mister. Yes, Sony's killing it, and I love Sunset Overdrive.
Hey, they still are. But I can say the games.
No, Sunset Overdrive was one of those games that really polarized me. I didn't say a lot about it because I didn't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
One thing I can say now that I'm about 3 or 4 hours in is, man, what a fucking soundtrack! Like, that's like I was a punk kid. Like, I love punk music growing up. I love that kind of like fast paced rock, and that's a really amazing soundtrack.
The driving bass.
Yeah, the humor, the humor. I don't know if it's because you guys are older and just not funny anymore, but the humor. There are some moments that have.
I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's because you're ancient, Kyle. There are some moments in the humor where I'm like, that's really clever. Like, the clever stuff is really clever, but like some of the stuff, you can tell that the game's been in development for a while. Like, when you first cook your first your amps, or your
he makes a
Breaking Bad reference.
Breaking Bad reference.
That's like, he's like, what am I gonna call you, Heisenberg? It's like, what is this, like 10 years ago already? Like,
10 years ago, this show just got over in 2013.
I know, but like the whole Heisenberg thing, like, you know what I mean? Like, the whole, like, that stuff doesn't resonate with me, but like some of the fourth wall breaky stuff, like, for them to realize, for the characters to realize that they're in a game at some points, is like, okay, that's really clever. I think that's really funny, and
I like how they poke fun at video games.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
yeah, that's really good too.
Yeah, I think
that's everything I thought it would be. Even the gun system is cool. You can, there's gun stores, of course, but you can gather parts to make new guns, and I'm about 5 hours in, and I haven't seen too many weaknesses. Like I said, the only thing I could think of would be possibly, repetitiveness.
Yeah.
But they do a good job. There's a good variety of weapons and a good variety of enemies.
Challenges.
Going back to your point about going in and out of the phone booths for multiplayer and co-op, or co-op and single player and campaign, I think that kind of breaks up that monotony. For me, it did anyway.
Wait, what breaks up that monotony?
Going into the co-op, going into multiplayer, kind of breaks up that monotony for me within the campaign. So if I get tired of fetch questing, I can go in and actually play a quick co-op, because there's like I think there's like 7 missions within each co-op you do, and then you're able to just hop back out and come back into the single player, and it does give a little bit of a break, I thought, to kind of refresh you, to keep it not as heavy fetch quest like most games have. So
I still find the game, like I said, I just got the trap stuff. I just did the second amp protection thing, and I'm still not like, I'm like, I can just keep going and going and going. Like, I still think it's like it moves at such. I think it's a really well paced game.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the strengths of the Xbox One, whereas we haven't seen it on the PS4 yet. The Xbox One is a really great, like, zombie console. It's like, you can have so many enemies on the screen, and you're just you're like, this is like, though at times, like, I feel like when you first start stepping out into the open world, like, you'll see like 1 or 2 OD, and then it's just like 20, and you're like,
they just keep coming.
Yeah, and then they just keep coming, and I think that's really great. Like I said, it's like a zombie console, like with Dead Rising 3 and Sunset Overdrive now. It's great to see that kind of stuff. It's really
I was really surprised that there wasn't slowdown during this game at all. Like, I haven't seen a hiccup of slowdown, and I've had a ton of OD on screen. I've had a ton of explosions going off around me. You might not have gotten to the part yet with Fizzy and where you fight him, but there's a lot of things going on during that fight that I would have thought there would have been some hiccups there, but it's a It's a champ. It runs really well considering
It
how many
does.
enemies you have on screen at one time and how many explosions you have going on as well.
Explosions look
Yeah,
wonderful. I mean, they really do. I mean, some of those when they, after your explosion, it does a little funny scene in the smoke. Like
yeah,
I can't think of them right now, but
boom or
they're really
flop
well
or
done.
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Well, as Haya would say, it's great that Insomniac got to train on the Gen 7 leader PS3.
Ha.
No, because like I don't know if you played the Ratchet and Clank's games, the Ratchet and Clank games, KW, but even on the PS3, those games they like for the time, 07, 09, whatever. It was like what Sunset Overdrive is now, like a lot of explosions going in on screen, bunch of enemies, bunch of shit flying everywhere. And if there's one consistent developer in this world, like I think one of the most consistent, it's usually Insomniac. Resistance 1 was a little but Resistance 2 and 3 were like solid games. The Ratchet and Clank games have usually been pretty solid, and Sunset Overdrive is nothing but solid. Uh, I love that the TNT Teddy. The
TNT
gun's
Teddies are great.
fucking awesome. And there's a mission really early on. I don't think this is a spoiler, where you control the dog.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
mission was this is the coolest thing they did was I was like, I'm gonna have to throw this thing, and the dog's gonna have to follow me, and I'm gonna have to switch weapons like in other games where it's you have to throw your escort guy somewhere and then you have to switch between the weapons to protect them. It's like, no, the escortee became the fucking
yeah, the
weapon.
weapon. It's
I
awesome.
was like, this is like, I played it yesterday or Tuesday and I was like, this is amazing. Like I love like the little spins they're putting on standard open world stuff. It's really great, and like I said, it's like the best Tony Hawk game I've played in a long time.
Huh.
And the movement stuff to
Yeah,
get your overcharge up is really awesome. It really gives you an incentive to play the game in a stylish way, so you
right.
get all those perks that you have active.
Yeah,
Which I
yeah,
think is a really great way to be like, hey, you want to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. It's like a really great game for somebody with ADD.
yeah. I was really surprised at the reviews, the ones that I read when it came out after I'd played for about 4 hours. I started reading some reviews, and no one mentioned. A lot of them didn't mention how great traversing the world was, and how easy they made it. And but on the same token, it does give you even though it's got an easy learning curve to get into, it's got a high learning curve for being able to kind of perfect it,
Yeah,
to get traversing to where you can go from anywhere on the map within literally 20 or 40 seconds of doing grinding on the rails or the high wires or the park hour going along walls. I mean, it's solid gameplay for sure for me with the air
And the
dash
map is
mixed in
huge.
there. So, and the map is really big. It's a big
It
map.
is.
yeah, yeah. Uh, you talk about level design and stuff, and there's a really great, like, I think some of the stuff is like a little like you got to get used to it before you can, like you said, you really perfect it. But there's a nice verticality to the map
Yeah. Hmm.
that it's so bizarre because we see open world games from such a perspective, and it's changed with games like Assassin's Creed and Shadow of Mordor and the GTA series, but like Sunset Overdrive, it's like you're seeing the whole city from a different and like Mirror's Edge, it's like you're seeing the city from this up and down viewpoint, and
Hmm.
it makes it a really unique experience. And it opens up possibilities for, like we said, like those, like the numbers challenge. There's a great challenge I saw, and KW did it too, where there are numbers on a series of rails, and they're literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have to get 500 points, and you have to do parkour all over the place and grind all over the place to get these numbers. and it's not just like, okay, go here, 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 here. It's just like, how are you gonna get, like, you have to. It's really great for improvision because there's so many different ways you can do things in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, so far the platforming in the game has actually been pretty good. I've been impressed by that and surprised by it. I thought it was going to be a little bit watered down, considering that this is an open world game, but it's come through. I like the platforming elements of it, even though they're not spectacular. They're not on the level of like a Mario or
No, they're not perfect by any means.
something like that, but they're good enough to be in the game that they're not a throw in like I've seen in the the some games.
The one thing I do wish is, since you can wall run around buildings like almost limitlessly, like
Yeah.
I wish there was some kind of hike and back jump like up buildings, rather than being like close to the top. Like, you
Yeah.
know, they'll scrap up to the top. I
Right.
wish there was like, hey, you can climb like almost halfway up and then bounce off and do something like, you know, do something crazy. That would be my only complaint with the platforming, because this is like, when you have to get high and you're facing a building and you're not like, okay, let me go find a car or a rail to bounce off of. It's
Yeah.
just like, you just want to run up the building, jump backwards, and then like latch onto a rail or something. Like, I feel the urge to do that because in most game, like Saints Row the Fourth,
Yeah.
is great because of the superhero powers. You just run up a fucking wall, jump, and fly, and it's just like the movement feels like it's satisfying in that kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It reminds me a lot of the powers remind me a lot of the Crackdown, early Crackdown, with being able to pretty much do anything in the world that you wanted to. So
yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
see more of that.
yeah. Well, you guys got Crackdown 3 next year.
Yes, we do.
You know, hopefully that'll. What is by the original dev though this time, right?
Yeah, apparently it
Gator.
is.
That'll be interesting to see. I want to see them utilize a little bit more, like in both consoles, not just one of them. I want to see them utilize more of like a destructive focus. You know, you have all these explosions and all this crazy stuff going on. Like, if Red Faction Guerrilla could do it, like, I'm sure they could. Um, if Red Faction Guerrilla could do it, like, I think start implementing it slowly, like the frostbite stuff, and,
Yeah.
you know.
Crackdown's coming out next year for sure.
I think. Let me see.
I I don't know if they announced any type of date, but I could have swore at the conference they said it was going to be a title.
That'd be good.
I wouldn't be surprised if most of those games they announced at the conference are next year.
Microsoft's usually pretty good about that. They don't announce stuff like 2 or 3 years ahead of time. So
No, they really don't. Oh, speaking of announcements early, one of the topics we missed, Heil, is Flop Club.
ugh. Do we have?
Yep, there's no excuse for that. I'll say it right now as a Sony fan, I'm disappointed in Evo. I enjoyed the Storm games, and I had hopes that the people actually knew how to make a racing game. Which,
Make a
I don't
good
know if
racing
given
game.
X amount of more time if they would have created, but there's no excuse for releasing a game in that state. That goes along with Sim City. That goes along with
Battlefield.
any other multiplayer game where
It
it's just
doesn't
broke. So
work.
that studio, I predict, will close within 6 months.
I like. It's sad that game was announced too soon in advance. I think any company. I mean, everyone does it at some point or another.
Yeah.
You know, they announce a game too soon. Like Square's done it.
Yeah, because they want to make
Like,
investors
they want.
happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
They want to make the investors happy. I'm not a big racing fan by any means. I got Forza 5 with my Xbox One, so I play that time to time. Drive Club seemed like a really promising idea from the news about halfway through the year, around, what was it, like April, May, when the one insider came out and he spewed all the wrong information. Apparently, the director of the game came out and said, "I don't know. Don't quote me on this, guys." Apparently, the director came out. He was working around about 3 or 4 hours away from home. his child had like a rare condition or illness, and he had to leave the studio. So it's always sad to see something like that happen. Not that I want to lay the crux of the failure of Drive Club on that,
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
but sometimes it could be hard to direct a game or know exactly where you're going, but there are other producers and people. Like I used to be a film director. I don't know how much there are many more moving parts and intensely moving parts in game development. So I don't know how well that transfers over, like trying to scrap a project and then try to be like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And it's
I feel sorry for that too. I'm just saying,
they shouldn't have released it the way it was released.
Nope.
They shouldn't have announced it, and they know they fucked up.
Well, they could announce it.
Yeah, but it was announced. It was supposed to be a launch game for PS4, and then they're like, "Well, the game's not ready yet."
I think there was some disconnect. I don't blame it on Sony. I blame it squarely on the studio.
I don't buy that.
Is Evolution a subsidiary of Sony?
When you
They could have showed him stuff. But I mean, I don't think Sony would have.
It's a subsidiary of Sony.
When you feature a game like that in your launch commercial as one of the games that's going to launch with your system, and I mean, you have to take some responsibility for it.
Yeah,
I mean, he did. Shu.
Whoever came out, I think Shu Yoshida came out.
Yeah, he did today.
What did he say?
They suspended the PS Plus version indefinitely for now.
Yeah, they're not giving that away anytime soon.
No, they're not. It's sad, like, because we all joke and we all like to poke fun on System Wars, but like in reality, who really wants to see a game fail?
Yeah.
It's not, because that's what we do. Like, we love gaming, and it's hard to be like. It's hard to be like, well, I hope Drive, like, we said that, we're like, yeah, we hope it fucking flops because you're a bitch. But it's sad to say, like, oh, for normal people even, it's just like, oh, there's this awesome game called Drive Club coming out, like, I really want to try it, but it's just like, then it comes out and it sucks. Like, we don't root.
Well, people still bought it.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I have friends on my friends list to play
I'll buy it when it's $10 because I have bought in 5 games before.
Well, hopefully they'll keep the servers open for the doors open till then. We'll see.
It's just like nobody ever hopes for a game to fail, and the colossal megaton disappointment that Drive Club was even a shock to me. Like, even I was like 6, 7. This is Evolution Studios. They made the MotorStorm games. They've done pretty well. And then it was just like,
5. Wow.
Just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's like Rise and Knack, but they released the main crux of the game, the online component, broken. So that's what I wanted to do, is have fun with the social aspect.
The clubs. Yeah.
But now it's now there's other games coming out, and it's gonna be a distant memory, and I just don't care anymore. Yeah. So that's my.
How sad is it going to be when a kid or a young adult opens up his new PS4? right on top is just Drive Club. That's a sad Christmas. That's a sad. I got a PS4. What game did you get me? Drive Club.
Ooh. Wow.
Oh.
Well, right now it's for Sony, the multiplats are driving the system.
Yeah.
Xbox clearly has, even with the release of Sunset Overdrive, clearly has the better exclusives at this time. So
let's
see
how long that, and I do it in quotation marks, Sunset Overdrive stays exclusive. I hope Microsoft can really push the system.
I think it's all about how it sells.
That's true. It is all about how it's.
It'll be console exclusive. I could see it going to PC.
But it's fucking just like they gotta stick to their guns. They gotta spend a little extra. Like, Microsoft is making smart moves by like hovering up these games. But at the same time, there is a market out there that will go, we'll wait.
Yeah,
I just don't. There is a possibility.
I just don't know if Microsoft cares about the PC, whether their games go to PC. I just don't know if they care.
Well, it's a double-edged blade sword. They talked about more PC support last gen.
Yeah.
Now the support is coming, but it's coming in the most ass backward way because they're like, we have these exclusives for the system, but then they're jumping ship to PC, and it's like, we joke around a lot on System Wars, but it's like, in all honesty, what's the incentive to keep the system if there is a high probability of that game going to the PC? Granted, it's not going to be on PS4. It can go to the PC where it can be played in 1080p at 60 FPS with mods and whatever else.
Well, the saving grace, I think, for Sunset, though, is they're not a PC developer at heart. I don't know if they done PC development.
No, not that I know of.
So that might be a saving grace. Now, what you might see for the sequel is it's on both systems. It's on PS4 and the One, because they own the IP, and that was the deal that Microsoft made. But who knows? Maybe Microsoft might go back because the game scored well. It's obviously
it's a good game.
It's being talked about quite a bit in forums and on the web. So it's doing everything it should. But you did see the same thing with Titanfall. However, I get the feeling this is a much deeper game than Titanfall was. So hopefully it's got a lot longer legs. It seems like early on it will be for me with the campaign. I'm tempted to buy the season pass after playing it.
I already went out and bought it.
Yeah, so it's definitely a game that they can play up during the holidays. We'll see if that happens.
Especially with that price drop.
Yeah.
Are the bundles dropping to $350?
I'm pretty sure anything without the Kinect is going to be $350, and anything with the Kinect is going to be $450.
It makes me wonder how much they're eating into their own, because it's like the same thing.
Do you think they're eating anything with the specs on both of these systems? I don't know.
No. I mean, if they're eating into the game's sales at all.
Oh, maybe.
Because if you bundle it and you're giving away for $350, you have to pay for the hardware, and then Microsoft. I don't know the exact line of how it exactly goes, but I wonder how many potential sales Microsoft could be eating up by bundling it. I mean, we all know by MPD numbers that they've shipped a shit ton of units, but we still haven't heard a sales number yet. I mean, we know PS4 is above 10 million. We know Wii U is at 7.7 million. I really want to know what Microsoft's sitting's at, because the 350, I don't want to call it an act of desperation yet, but it's certainly a way to be we got to get this fucking train moving because we are behind. And the system can have the games, but if it has the games but not the sales, how do they can't keep spending money to hover up these exclusives? Developers aren't going to be happy in the end,
Well, I don't know. It depends on how they're compensating those developers.
Exactly. That's a big factor of it too.
So Microsoft can take the hit on pretty much almost anything. Can they take the hit after they spent $2.5 billion on Mojang? What the fuck? That's a whole other conversation. But they can take the hit on this holiday with these bundles that they're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
The question is a developer like Insomniac saying, "Hey guys, we need to make money on this game too. How are you going to square us when it comes to profits when you're giving the game away with your system?" So I'm sure they've got something in place.
They buy some kind of X amount of copies or digital codes to put.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Insomniac's going to be out for what Microsoft is doing. I'm sure they partnered with them. They seem like they've been a good partner with them the entire time. The game came out super polished, and that's what I was hoping for when it launched, was that Microsoft was going to be able to give them direction on, hey, this is how the game needs to run as far as an infrastructure standpoint, online, and work with our hardware. So all of those things happened. I can't imagine them screwing the pooch now with Insomniac and not compensating them.
I think one of the things they have to be careful of, what Platinum did, is Platinum released Bayonetta 2 last week, which is a really phenomenal game. They released Bayonetta 1 with it for Wii U owners. Now, is that something we could see in the future? Like you said, like we've discussed, Titanfall 2 will probably come to PS4. We say that unless Microsoft pays some absurd amount of money to keep it there. Though I don't think I think Titanfall's a fun game. I don't think it did much of anything.
Well, it's a lot better now.
That's what I've heard.
It's like KI. KI is a much better game now than it was at launch, and Titanfall is the same. It's a much deeper game than it was when it launched.
That'd be really cool if Insomniac released Sunset Overdrive 2, if they had the opportunity to, and Sunset Overdrive 1 for PS4 for $65. You gotta
can only dream.
Well, you can I mean, it happened with the Wii U.
Yeah.
What's to stop other developers from going, well, they didn't play the first game, we're not going to make much of a profit margin, or why don't we sell the first game digitally on PS4 for $30?
Yeah, and that's a shame that Bayonetta didn't sell well. I remember when I played that and said to myself, this is better than God of War, this is better than Devil May Cry. And people were like, how do you say that? It's like, because I played both games and I love that type of Twitch type game, and it blew it out of the water as far as gameplay wise.
Yeah, Bayonetta 2 is just, it's sad it's not gonna sell that well.
No, it's not gonna sell well on the Wii U. It really isn't.
Not at all.
Too bad.
But it's a fantastic game. If you ever get a Wii U, I suggest you try it out.
Yeah, you have to. That would, someone would have to gift me a Wii U for me to buy one, man.
But I think that's pretty much the crux of our conversation.
Yeah, that's...
November's a big month for games. November's a big month for games. Call of Duty's Tuesday. Master Chief Collection's the following week with Assassin's Creed Rogue and Unity, and
GTA.
then GTA, and then the following week GTA and Far Cry.
How do it, man? Yeah.
I have to beat Lords of the Fallen and Sunset Overdrive, and I think one more game, in fucking week.
I've read Sunset is about 20 to 25 hours.
Ooh.
You already beat it?
No, I haven't beat it. I've read that.
That seems about right. That's like an
open
Assassin's
world
Creed or
game, yeah.
Yeah.
I've read it's 20 to 25 hours. So,
if I sat down with 10 days, 2 hours a night, I'll be good. Lords of the Fallen is single player only, so luckily that's not going to go anywhere.
Alrighty. Anything else?
I think that's it.
No, that's it.
All right. Well, I guess we could wrap it up here. So we'd like to thank our guest, KW2. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. I always enjoy being on with you guys. It's always great.
Thank you for not being a pauper station.
You keep... come on.
Just shut up. Just shut up. Don't make it worse. Don't make it worse. You're going to incur... There's two types of us. There's talking us, and then there's typing us. You don't want to incur the wrath of typing, Animal Mother.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I'm a different guy on the site, man. I love coming on here and talking, and I'm on the site. I'm on the site primarily to kind of just cause some trouble, stir up some.
I love stirring up the troublemaker's trouble. I love coming in there and just going, well, you know what? Fuck you too.
Well, I think at some point all three of us need to get on Sunset and play some.
I'm up for tonight or whenever you guys want.
Yeah, I could play some tonight. I can try.
Rounds.
All right, let's jump on then, man.
Good, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use the restroom. I'll see you online.
We're not going to close up the podcast?
Oh, yeah, we should. Well, yeah, we're going to throw it over to Animal Mother to get us out of here. So throw it
this is Animal Mother for Heil68. Thanks for listening to another edition of Pedal the Metal Podcast. Soon our Comic-Con special is coming out. And, thanks for listening, guys. And KW, thank you for being on again. And let's all go play some Sunset Overdrive. Be jelly cows.
Later.